Welcome back, friends. Today's episode of Dark Matters was chosen by the patrons who help financially contribute to this channel. The episode is also sponsored by all of you who purchase merchandise, since a majority of Dark Matters and Nameless that have been uploaded the last several months have been demonetized by YouTube, including last week's video. There are currently several new designs in the store, including a new Jackalope cameo shirt, Nameless merch, and a new Dark Matters design, which I have right here. I had the concept, but Teespring turned it into a work of art because I'm not an artist, but we have a little lamppost here. It's hard to see. We have a lamppost, and the Dark Matters is actually the light coming down from the lamppost. And if you look close enough, there's a little chickadee down here holding the teddy bear. So if you don't want to make a monthly contribution but would like to support the channel and receive some merch for helping out, the link for that will be in the description. And remember, even if you only continue to watch as support and share the video, that's okay too. But now let's get into what really matters. In Maryland's capital city of Baltimore, a young boy completely vanished, and hardly anyone seemed to notice, save for his family. Garnell Monroe Moore was just 6 years old the last time relatives saw him, but 3 years later, they realized he was missing. Detectives are no closer to finding him than they were over a decade ago. Today on Dark Matters, the disappearance of Garnell Moore. Born on May 18, 1995, Garnell Moore spent the first several years of his life with paternal relatives on the 3700 block of Harlem Avenue, near the Gwynns Falls Park in Baltimore's West Side. With his mother behind bars on drug charges dating back to the mid-80s, and his father living a transient lifestyle, only occasionally checking in at the red brick row house where Garnell lived, his parents were largely absent from the picture. But Garnell wasn't alone. He often visited his maternal aunt, Trina Morton, at her home in Northeast Baltimore. There, he played with the 3 girls Trina was raising, including Garnell's half-sister, LaTanya Williams. And though they never lived under the same roof, LaTanya remembered her brother as an energetic little boy with a playful smile who always carried around a toy car or figurine to occupy himself. Then, at age 6, Garnell's paternal aunt, Belinda Cash, began looking after him from her home on Harlem Avenue. However, the arrangement was informal. She didn't have legal custody over him and failed to enroll him in school. To social services, law enforcement, and strangers, Garnell was essentially a ghost. Different sources report different dates concerning the last time family saw Garnell Moore. The Charlie Project lists the dates sometime in August of 2002, while an extensive article in the Baltimore Sun places the last sighting in August of 2001. Both the timeline and circumstances of his disappearance are foggy, but I have done my best to make this as coherent as possible. Remember, Garnell is living with his Aunt Belinda, but often visits his Aunt Trina, who is raising Garnell's half-sister, LaTanya. In August of 2001, Aunt Trina arrived at Harlem Avenue to pick up 2 of her girls. While picking them up, she saw Garnell playing outside. The aunts made plans for Garnell to visit Trina the following weekend. However, Trina was 9 months pregnant and went into labor that weekend, delaying the visit. About a week later, Trina called to reschedule her nephew's visit when Belinda informed her she was in the middle of moving, so it was an inconvenient time for Garnell to visit. The next time Trina called, the number was disconnected, and the new address Belinda had given her was reportedly fictitious. Harold Moore, Garnell's father, visited his daughters at Trina's and assured her that Garnell was with Belinda, despite having no way to contact them. Later, Moore told authorities he last saw his son in either 2002 or 2003, a year or two after Trina last saw him. Moore gathered with family at the 1000 block of Ellicott Driveway around Easter time, approximately a mile northeast of the previous Harlem address on the opposite side of Gwynns Falls Park. By 2005, Trina's final hope was a phone number Moore gave her to connect her with one of Belinda's relatives. But the relative didn't have any optimistic news to offer. They hadn't seen Garnell with Belinda in years. Because social services had no record of Garnell, they couldn't help Trina in the search for her missing nephew. So she took to the streets herself, knocking door to door in the Harlem Avenue neighborhood, to no avail. However, Trina and LaTanya eventually made contact with Belinda's family in 2005, who pointed them in the right direction. Trina tracked Belinda down to the 4000 block of Old Frederick Road, where she was living in a public housing development in a single-story red brick townhome, overlooking the tombstones of New Cathedral Cemetery. When Trina asks to see Garnell, Belinda tells her that her nephew isn't home, that he's in Virginia at King's Dominion for a school field trip. The problem is, it's summer, school is out, and Garnell still isn't enrolled anywhere. Desperate, Trina tried social services again, requesting a welfare check for Garnell, but the agency said they had no authority to enter private residences. Local schools legally can't give Trina any roster information, and the local juvenile services center's hands are tied. Trina wasn't Garnell's legal guardian. Garnell was reported missing July 1st, 2005, 4 years since Trina last saw him and 3 since his father had. However, the Baltimore Police Department's missing persons unit wasn't involved until March of 2006. Under police questioning, Belinda finally started talking, but what she had to say didn't settle anyone's nerves. Belinda said from 2001 to 2005, she split time between Harlem Avenue and Old Frederick Road when she fell on hard financial times in the summer of 2005. Unable to care for Garnell, she left him on the steps of a social services office on the 500 block of North Hilton, near Edmondson, and never saw him again. Most reports claim that the address of the social services agency Belinda gave was fictitious. However, when looking at the address, there is currently a Baltimore Department of Human Services at this location. Those services include adoption and foster care, adult and child protective services, family support services, and public assistance. The Baltimore Sun article also states that authorities contacted employees at this location, and there was no record of Garnell, no employees recalling seeing him at their doorstep, and he wasn't residing within the building either. So the address seems legitimate. However, the address Belinda gave Trina when she moved was reportedly fabricated. It's possible more recent write-ups confused which address was legitimate, and the misinformation has spread since. Belinda's story to police never changed, but relatives got different accounts of Garnell's whereabouts, so maybe that's where the fictitious claim came from. Detectives spoke with Belinda's neighbors on Old Frederick Road, passed out flyers, and asked them to keep their eyes open. Some residents remembered that Belinda called Garnell her son, but admitted they hadn't seen him since 2001. Authorities searched Belinda's nearly abandoned home on Harlem, where Trina last saw her nephew. But the plaster falling from the ceiling and multitude of moving boxes revealed no trace of Garnell, even with 2 visits and the help of cadaver dogs. Belinda voluntarily took a lie detector test, which we've talked about before on this channel. Many states don't allow lie detector test results as evidence in courts. Some places don't even allow police to use it in investigations. It's not really seen as a bulletproof method of actually detecting deception. However, for those who put stock in it, she showed no signs of deception save for one question, which wouldn't have implicated her in any crime. According to Lieutenant Thomas J. Uzorowski, who ran the police's missing persons unit, Belinda didn't have any criminal charges of significance and was never known to harm or neglect children, though Uzorowski admitted Belinda was hard to pinpoint. As of January 2007, police still had contact with Belinda, who was residing in the Essex area, possibly under a new name following a divorce and a new marriage. However, the Baltimore Sun couldn't reach her for comment on their article. Despite trying to track Garnell down, authorities are no closer to finding him than when he was first reported missing. With so little information, it's difficult to even speculate what happened to Garnell or where he might be today. Lieutenant Uzorowski believes it's possible that Garnell is alive and well, that a stranger saw him alone and took him in and cared for him without alerting the authorities. With the Baltimore public's distrust of the police and social services, this seems entirely possible. Uzorowski also said he and his department were not set on any one particular theory, knowing if they placed too much weight without any evidence, if the truth presented itself, they might miss it. And for family, that remains the most frustrating and heartbreaking part of missing Garnell. There's no school pictures of Garnell, only a lone photo of him at 5 years old. The rest are artists' interpretations of what he could look like through different stages of his life up to today. Though Garnell's case has largely fallen out of the public eye over the last decade, his family still yearns for answers. If alive today, Garnell would be 23 years old. The first photo is Garnell at 5 years old, and his age progression photos show what he might have looked like as an 11-year-old, in his mid-teens, at 18 years old, and 23 years old. He is a black male with black hair and brown eyes and is classified as endangered missing, and investigators are concerned for his safety and would like to verify his well-being. If you have any information on the disappearance or current whereabouts of Garnell Moore, please contact the Baltimore Police Department at 443-984-7385 or 410-396-2284. Special thanks to the Patreon family who voted for this case and financially contribute to this channel. With the state of YouTube demonetizing almost every new true crime video on this channel, their support cannot be overstated. If you are interested in supporting the channel, information is in the description, but even if you only continue to support by watching, thank you. Thank you for giving Garnell's case a moment of your time, and my heart goes out to his family. They've gone too long without answers, and we all hope closure comes soon. And no matter what you choose to believe or what you speculate, I ask you only for respect in the comments below, both for Garnell and his family. And remember, though these may be dark matters, the darkness always matters. Thank you for watching the video. We all know exposure to cases such as these is highly important, and if you're looking to support the channel through Patreon, merch, or my podcast, the links can be found on the screen now. Please stay safe, friends, and have a good night.